Good evening, StreamYard and YouTube fans. This is Philip Reynolds. This is my 100th episode tonight. If you would like to join me, the link is in the StreamYard. Um, as you can tell, um, I have FC. My daughter gave me this FC Cincinnati hoodie. I've been using it at work because the weather has been really cold here in Cincinnati lately. So I've been using this at work a lot. And I wanted to show you uh, this is what happens when you get lucky. And I do mean lucky. That's what happens when you get lucky. I had a awful season, wound up 5-9, but I managed to pull together three terrific and awesome wins, and that's what I have to show for it. That's what I have to show for it. And believe me, it was total luck. I thought I was going to get blown out in the first game because I was playing our division leader, and I won that handily by like about 12 points. And then the second game, I believe it was the 3 seed. I think it was the 3 seed. Um, I beat like by 3 or 4 points, but I was scheduled or projected to lose by 20 points in both those games. And the Super Bowl was against my sister, and uh, I have this kind of rule. It's not really steadfast written down or anything, but in close and meaningful games, I don't watch the TV. I I just don't watch the TV, and that's because I would be yelling and screaming my head off, and I would be um, I I just go ballistic type thing. So I don't even watch TV. I love fantasy football. It's my favorite thing. Don't get me. It's one of my favorite sports. Um, I love it. It's a hobby, just like this is a hobby. And I've been in this league for like 15 years, actually 15 plus years. But this is my first time in 16 years that I made it to the Super Bowl. Um, and uh, yeah, it was unbelievable. Who would think that a uh, somebody that's 5-9 wins a Super Bowl? It was like I had two different seasons. It was like 5-9, and then I had 3 games where it was like 3 big wins in a row. And like I said, this is what you get when you come up big and string together a few wins. Um, and I also want to tell you that I loving doing my History Maker baseball, um, and I'm almost at the end of Series One, which was against Philadelphia. Series Two, and that was the owner of that team was Sebastian. The next series is against the Yankees, and that's against the our Super Bowl. I mean, not Super Bowl, but World Series winner this year, Rick. His home park was the Yankees park, so I will be using the Yankees team for him. Um, I'm not using our players. I'm just using the teams that. So when Sebastian's the Toronto Jostles, that was the name of his team, but his park that he used was Philadelphia. So I'm using Philadelphia team to represent his team, and then uh, like I said, the next opponent is Rick, and his is Yankees. So I'll use the Yankees for him. And I can't remember the name of the person, but I think after that it's the Pirates. Um, Also, I have thought about possibly getting the um, 71 Stratomatic season. Uh, what I'd like to do, and I might do this, I might have to experiment with this first, and that's what I'd like to do is I'd like to do what I've been doing with History Maker Baseball, only with Stratomatic, and see how a 7 inning game of Stratomatic would work using the same kind of rules that I use with History Maker Baseball, where I'm using just the eight batters. I'm not, and the pitchers aren't batting at all, and see how a 7 inning game uh, works out that way. And that way, you don't have to worry about DH. Uh, and of course, back in '71, there was no DH, but you don't have to worry about DH. And if you use like a 2021, it'd be interesting to see if you use a 2021 set. It would be interesting to see how it would work out both through History Maker Baseball and through Strat. Um, so yeah, it's it's something that um I might take if I take a little break from this project, I might do a game or two using Strat to see how a 7 inning scenario using Strat rules, only 7 innings and no pitchers hitting type thing would work with Strat. Does it work well? Does it translate well? That type of thing. Um, and I really like, History Maker Baseball is like becoming like tied with third spot as my one of my favorite games. It's really close with Pine Tar Baseball. I have to give Pine Tar a real slight edge because it has like the beginnings of baseball, and it has a lot of dead ball, 1920, 1930 type of uh, of sets. Plus, a lot of the sets uh, you can get in PDF format. Yes, I know there are History Maker Baseball does do the PDFs in that, but they're not as much as Pine Tar. Pine Tar you can get way more PDFs than you can History Maker Baseball. I will say this about History Maker Baseball: there are 2 seasons through PDFs that you can get of women's baseball. One's in 1944 and the other's in 1953. I do plan on getting those because, in honor of Chris, I want to do a few women's baseball exhibition games. Basically, is best way to put it. And I would be using the 7 inning rules that Bob Tabletop Sports uh, puts out. Um, and Yeah, so basically, I see Strat as number one, Inside Pitch is number two, Pine Tar would be like third, Fourth would be History Maker Baseball. Um, let's see, one, two, Pine Tar, History Maker. Fifth would be I would have to say Payoff Pitch. Uh, those are like my top five baseball, uh, and I'll have to add that to the. Well, let me edit this a little bit while I play. Uh, I'm editing my description on the fly. And, Commander Strat, inside pitch. Oh, okay. I just edited my description. I just told you how I rank the basically the baseball games. Uh, it's like I put Strat first, inside pitch second, third is Pine Tar Baseball, fourth would be History Maker Baseball, and fifth would be Payoff Pitch. Um, I really like I do like Payoff Pitch. I haven't really played it a lot though, but I like that wheelhouse and all that. That's really good. Um, I really like that. I really like uh, History Maker Baseball using the characteristics. I also like the fact that it uses umpires. It's the only game I know of, really. I know that somebody told me of another one, but I Dynasty League, I think, is what somebody told me. But History Maker Baseball is the only one I know of that uses uh, umpires. Um, I like Pine Tar Baseball because it has a lot of the early stuff, and by early stuff, I'm talking the fresh, brand new 1860 type baseball stuff, and it has a lot of the dead ball era, 1920 and 1930s, and I know that's the kind of era that Chris likes, and I know, I mean, it's just I kind of like that type of era as well. Um, and two is inside pitch. You can't beat that the box and the columns and rows and what RJL does with that. It's got a lot of charts. It's easier to play with two people than it is solo. I will say that it's easy because I was an inside pitch this league, and a lot of guys. helped me to. I mean, they were all the guys helped me this past season, and without them, even though I was in last place, I didn't do very well. I was in last place, but those guys treated me as if I was in contention the whole season long. And it's a great group of guys. I know that they've got their set for next season, but they're always looking for possible expansion. Um, and I will put this in here as well. Um, I just put in the idea of my the inside pitch league. You would want to, if you would like to join a baseball league. Uh, they're not. They're already set for the 71 season, upcoming season, but they may be looking for expansion in the future. And it's a great group of guys. They're willing to work with you, help you out. It was an auction style type of draft, and you not only drafted Major League Baseball players, but there was a minor league draft as well. So yeah, it's very a lot into it in that. And the first time I played it, it was actually the first time that I don't say can't say that because I have tried um, ESPN doing a baseball league online, and I just wasn't very good at it. The one baseball game that I would like to try soon, and I have in my repertoire, I just haven't gotten it down and broken it out, is the replay baseball. I have 4 games, and I just need to learn them. I need to learn hockey. First of all, I need to learn soccer blast, hockey blast, replay basketball, and replay baseball. Those are the 4 games I need to learn. Uh, and I want to get together with my friend, I think Chris Hawks or Haas is his name, from my Inside Pitch League, and I want to learn uh, replay baseball and replay basketball from him. And in return, I want to teach him how to play Glory Days boxing. I would also like to have Chris on my channel and just talk sports sometimes. And I also, if he had his Glory Days boxing, have him pick like 2 fighters and do like just 2 or 3 rounds of a match. I'd let him to pick the fighters and just do two, like I said, 2 or 3 rounds of a match, and try to see where he's at in learning the game. Kind of try to teach him what I know of the game, which I mean I've played it several times, but it's been a while since I've played it. But just like Dice United, it's one of those games that, yeah, you may, if you go away from a while, you might miss some of the rules, but after rereading the rules and watching other people, you kind of get it. Um, and I do want to, like I said, the Strat project, the Strat idea of a 7 inning game. I'd like to see that. That's one of the first things I want to do. Second thing I want to do is I like soccer. I like soccer. Hey, FC Cincinnati. Um, and I want to do that MLS project that I mentioned, where it's uh, do a East West, MLS championship game. Then that plays the U.S. World contending team, and then the winner of that would play the winner of the All European team set. So yeah, that's several teams. I mean, because there's like the way the MLS does it is it's kind of like football. The top seven make it. The first round gets a bye in the first round, and then that team plays the lowest seeded team of the ones that get to the second round, and then you have all the second rounders play along with that, and then you play until there's a champion type thing. Uh, it's very very similar to NFL football that way. The other thing to note that I'd like to note is the USFL is getting ready to draft. I want to say in February, and their games are slated to start in April, and their championship is in July. And the 8 teams, I don't know all of them, but they're the same like 8 from the original USFL era, and they've already got plans for expansion for a second season if they make it that far. And I do say if. Let's hope that does happen. And I've also seen that there's going to be a third rendition of the XFL, and they have been in the process of like basically the best way to put it is spring training type stuff. They've been, I think the teams are all set. It's just the teams are rather than just boom go at it like they did the last time. I think they gave them a year to work together, to gel together, to like become a team before they start in, and it'll be right. I think it'll be right after the next year's Super Bowl, if I'm not mistaken. Uh, the rules of the XFL, no clue. The rules of the USFL, I'm not sure. I do know that one of the regulations is you have to be out of at least high school. From what I saw, I did catch a blurb on the internet recently, and you have to be a high school graduate at least in order to try out for a USFL team. Um, and this wouldn't be a 100th show if I didn't thank a lot of the guys that mean a lot to me. Chris being one. Your tutorials are great. I love them, top notch. If you're wanting to get involved in the sports simulation business, you definitely want to check out um, Chris's tutorials. Rob, I love your stuff. Uh, I know that you got my package, but I haven't seen you unbox it or anything like that. I would love to see you play with those international teams that I sent. Oh, was I supposed to mention that? Yeah, with Rob's uh, Bolorama game, I sent him some international Australian League teams and I would love to see him play with some of those. I think there's the Japanese Giants are in there. I think, and if so, I would love to see the Giants, the Japanese Giants versus the San Francisco Giants. Um, that would be something nice to see. Uh, so yeah, I like to thank Chris. I like to thank Rob. Love to thank Al. I mean, to me, Al is like Howard Cosell of sports simulation stuff. He does a lot. I mean, a lot of stuff. Um, uh, Boxing, baseball, uh, just he's pretty much all over the board when it comes to sports. He does a lot of PC uh, action stuff, computer sim. He does that. I mean, I think he also does Strat. Uh, I also like to think ID Jester. I know he's into war games, but we still love you doing the once or twice every once in a while when you do the sports stuff. So yes, Jester, there are some of us that even though you're into war games, we still like you and still would love for you to do sports stuff. And I know you gave a lot of that stuff away, but we know somewhere down in here, sports is in your heart. Uh, I mean, Rob, I will say this: I would love to be there Thursday. I want to be there Thursday, even if I just show up and say, "Hi, hi, Keith. We love your games. Keep up the good work." Even if I just say that, that's really all I pretty much want to say to Keith. Other than Keith, you've got to put pedal to the metal in red, white, and blue racing rules. You just got to. I mean, without it, it's not red, white, and blue racing. I know there's feuding and fuming, but it that I mean I realize that that is a part of of red, white, and blue racing, but I was never into the feuding and the fuming. But pedal to the metal is great, and if it's back in the back section, those guys can go lickety split right up through the pack. And I think the longest train that I've seen Rob have is like about 13, 14 cars. Now, I personally I like to add to the fact that if if when the I like to add Rob doesn't, but I like to add to the fact that if a six is rolled while you're passing cars, that you have to roll for to see if there's a wreck and see if each person in that line has to check and see if they can pass, and if they pass, then they have to check to see if they stay in the race or not. Um, but that's my personal addition to Rob's pedal to the metal. Um, and I did. I don't know if you caught my last History Maker Baseball, but I did add something new to History Maker Baseball that I don't think uh, is in there, and that's when a pitcher is hot, especially a relief pitcher, they get an extra inning of freshness. And where I put the fact that, and this was because it was a rule in my inside pitch league, relief pitchers weren't allowed to pitch like the next game. But if you're a hot pitcher, you're exempt from that. Uh, you can pitch as often. You can pitch that guy as often as you want, as long as he's hot. Now, if he's normal or cold, then that's not the case. Then the relief pitcher can only be used uh, only when necessary. But if he's hot, you can use him anytime. Uh, but I'm just kind of one of those guys. I love games. I especially like these sports games. Uh, Rob and Chris and Al and ID Jester and Earl. What? Yeah. There's so many I can't even think of. I would also like to thank Sportsman Z. I love his baseball. I love his football. Strat football is something I would love to learn, but in order to learn it and do it, I would have to have help, whether it's Sportsman Z or Chris. It's just, I tried to do it on my own. And there's some things, just like I said, inside pitch is better when there's two people than one. How RJL, how Robert does it, RJL 518 does it, is beyond me, but he does an awesome job with calling those games. And I know RJL right now is doing game one between the Yankees and the Dodgers, but and I hate to say it, I'm not a big Yankees fan. I'm not a big Dodgers fan either. But if I had to choose, I'd rather see the Dodgers win than the Yankees. Um, and Sorry, I don't have a game for you tonight, but I just I just wanted to show you that I did get my Super Bowl winnings. That's good. Not bragging or anything. It's just it was a really strange and bizarre year. We now know how many games it takes to win a Super Bowl, and in my league, that's five. Uh, and believe me, it was like two different seasons. Uh, we could have done single elimination from the beginning, and I probably would have got killed in that. Uh, but yeah, I love the Zafiro Fantasy Football League that I've been in for 15 years. It's awesome. Uh, it's a family thing, uh, and it's awesome. I've been in it for 15 years. The very first time I did fantasy football was Big Apple Sports. I found it in a fantasy football magazine, believe it or not, and it was before the internet. And I would get like I'd have to mail in my ballot for who I wanted to start and who I wanted to set type thing. And as soon as I got that, which would probably be like Monday or Tuesday or something before the games, basically, I would have to almost mail it the very next day so that it would get there on time. I'm so thankful that you can now do fantasy football online, whether it's CBS Sports Line or ESPN. Um, and Yeah, it's a lot easier being online. And I will pose the one question that I did pose to Sportsman Z, and that's out of Tennessee and Green Bay, which team do you think that's on a bye this week um, will have the greatest chance of being upset? Sportsman Z told me uh, Tennessee, and I feel the same way, and that's because the last time that Tennessee played in the playoffs was when Eddie George uh, you know, was with them, and that was the Titans versus the Rams, and they missed it by that much, basically a yard. Um, and I was really rooting for Eddie George to win that one because Ohio State, I think. Yeah, I think Eddie George went to Ohio State. Um, and let's see. Gotta think of, is there anybody else I need to thank? Well, I'd like to thank, probably the last person I'd like to thank is I'd like to thank my viewers. Um, I've been through like 3 or 4 renditions. Um, right now, it's Praise Sports Network. This is my 100th episode. I get on here and do this because I love games. I love sports. Uh, I want to show you, teach these games. I don't know how well I'm doing with it, but I get in on here and I try and I do my best. Can't say I know a lot of the rules backwards and forwards, but I do the best I can. And occasionally, I might come up with some changes or renditions that could affect or could not affect the game. I currently been doing History Maker Baseball. I really like the idea that it incorporates weather and like the umpires and stuff like that. Um, I really haven't gotten to many of the uh, rare charts or the highlight charts, but I have had a lot of weird and wacky things happen in the pregame setups. Uh, like Hal McRae, their center fielder, I think, center fielder or left fielder for the Reds. He gets an out till further notice before game one. I mean, and then Bernie Carbo gets a cold till further notice, and Johnny Bench got an 8-day injury, and Pat Corrales is catching for my team. I did have, although I didn't show it, I did have to, one of my pregame setups I had to nix because what it did is it says it was one of those where you had an infielder or an outfielder that was injured, and you had to roll for how long he was out. But it also said that your catcher was out as well. Well, Bench was on an 8-day injury, and if I take Corrales out, then I'd have to use. Well, I could use like a utility player, but I just didn't think it was fair. So I just kind of scrapped that and let that go to the wayside. Um, but yeah, sometimes you have to look at things and it's like, so I just made it like nothing really happened to the Reds. And I, it's I really do like that aspect. Is the pregame setup is a lot of the what I really do like about history maker baseball. Uh, Not a lot of rare results. Too much. I haven't rolled many rare results, and I haven't had many of the like double flash or double control or double ace results either. It's just just been pretty much straightforward from the pitcher, the batter, and the fielding. Most of those results. Occasionally, you might get an umpire check or something, but not too often. I think in the 5 games that I played, uh, I think like the last game I might have had 2 or 3 things from umpires. I did have one run in one of my games score. Actually, I think it was the first run of the game. I can't remember if the Reds won or lost, but one of the runs was because an umpire made a bad call and called a guy should have been like out type thing. If a strict umpire would have seen it, they would have called it out. But because it was like a questionable or lenient ump, they called him safe type thing. That has happened once that I know of. But I'm looking forward to seeing how things pan out for this series. I haven't gotten to my third till further notice for the Reds yet, um, and I think I've got the Phillies got two till further notices as well. I think I'd have to take a look and see. I have been keeping my score sheets for this one, and that's a lot of that's because I want to keep track of which relief pitchers not to use, not to use, but not to use uh, from game like 3 to game 4 type thing. Uh, and that's pretty much all I have for you tonight. I hope all your roles are good ones. Uh, I love doing this for you, the fans, and that. And if there's anything I can do to make things better, feel free to leave comments over there anytime. Uh, and if there's a game that you'd like me to try, leave comments. I would like to try to get the dodgeball. That looks really good the next time that it's available, and that looks really neat. If I were Keith, uh, an idea would be to package uh, dodgeball, a volleyball, and a Foursquare game and call it playground games. Put those 3 games like together in one package. That would be interesting. Um, but the one thing that I did ask Rob to possibly ask Keith was the fact of, do you plan on putting out some like 1920, 1930 teams? Um, because that's kind of area I like. Also, it would be nice to put some of those early season, 1800, you mean 1860, 1870 type teams in there as well. I would like to see, well, I have like the 75 Reds. Yeah, I have the 75 Reds, but I like the 70s, the 75, 76 Reds. I know that the 90s, they have the 90s, and that's a set that I do want to get because I like the 1990 Reds. They're my favorite. Wire to wire, first and only team to do it. And you Yankee fans can't say that. Neither can the Red Sox or the A's. Reds were the first to do it. Um, and and I know that it's not considered in the contemporary season, but go check your baseball history. The Reds were the only team to have a perfect season. And if you can tell me when, put it in the comments down there because it was real early. I'll tell you that. I think it was around 1860, and that's a guess, but they're the only team to have a perfect season. Of course, it was pretty much pickup games in that, and it wasn't the modern day uh, teams that we know and love today. But they did have a perfect season. Um, and I will give you my thoughts on the NFL playoffs before I go. First off, I would love to see the Bengals not necessarily get to the Super Bowl, but finally get a playoff win. I would love to see them beat the Raiders this week. Um, yeah. Um, I really, other than the Chiefs, I couldn't even begin to guess who the champion, two AFC champion teams are going to be. I will say I would put check Kansas City to be one of those teams. Uh, as far as the other team to be with Kansas City, um, possibly the Bills or the Titans. Um, but that's just a theoretical guess. Um, the and on the uh, NFC, I would have to say probably Green Bay and either San Francisco or Dallas, which I know Sportsman Z and his friend both mentioned those two, but it's pretty much a solid pick. You couldn't go wrong with saying one of those. Uh, with You can't go wrong with saying Green Bay and then one of those two other teams, 49ers or the Cowboys, making it to the NFC playoff. Uh, I know that on I think it's February 11th, if I'm not mistaken. Uh, 11th, somewhere in February, the Washington team is going to announce their new name, and I saw a list. You'd have to go online to check this list out. I saw a list of the names, and it said it's probably not going to be a name that everybody's happy with. And the one name that stood out to me as saying, yeah, is the, I hate to say it, guys, but I think Washington is going to be called the Washington Presidents. And if they do that, they the helmet kind of looked something similar to like what Alabama has, where it's all red, it's got a yellow mask, and just the player's number on it. But if you're going to call them the presidents, it would be nice to have like the Mount the Mount Rushmore with the four presidents on it. Be nice to have that. Kind of a little looking like the Buffalo Bills, but with the Mount Rushmore on the sides. That would be me. That's if I would name them the presidents. The one that I really liked was the idea of like pilots or something like that after like the Tuskegee Airmen and stuff like that. That's what I would have I myself probably would have chosen that, but you know, but they said it's probably a name that most of us will not like, like how you say Yankees and then right after you say Yankees it's like ugh. And the only name that comes to my mind from the list that I saw would be Washington presidents. It's like, ugh. So my guess for the Washington's name, and if I'm right, you heard it here first. But my guess is that Washington will be called the Washington Presidents. We'll see if I'm right, but we have to wait till uh, after the Super Bowl in order for that to happen. So, just giving you a heads up what I possibly think. I'm not too happy with that, but like I said, from what I saw on the internet, it's probably not a name that most of us are going to like anyway. Um, and if you were going to go that way anyway, I wouldn't say presidents, but what about Washington statesmen? Because you got congressmen and legislative people and all that stuff. You know, Washington statesmen would be better than Washington presidents. So we'll see. All right, guys. I've talked your ear off long enough. And this is my 100th episode. Thank you. If you like what you see and hear, please subscribe, turn on notifications because I never know when I'm going to get on. I just had some time tonight, and I wanted to show you my winnings and stuff like that because I did get something for all that work that I did with my fantasy football this season, and it, like I said, it was a season from hell. It was like an A season and a B season, and I just strung three together at the end and pretty much won it all. It's not the way you want to play fantasy football, but it happened. And if you know it, it just that's just the way that the cookie crumbles, so to speak. Uh, but you guys have a good night. I hope all your rolls are good ones. And I'm looking forward to seeing Keith Avalon on Thursday, even if I say hi. And by hi, I just mean even just saying hi, Keith, in the chats type thing. Keith, you do a great job with your stuff. I did see somebody have something on Facebook recently about possibly not getting that he ordered second season football and didn't get it. And I felt like I didn't. I should have. It's like, well, you should email Keith and say, hey, I ordered this. I paid this amount. I didn't get it. Where is it? What happened? Because Keith is on top of his stuff and he'll track down and see if you're do something or not. Uh, if nothing else, give you a refund and or ha- uh, give you a refund, or you could, you know, yeah, he would give you a refund definitely. Um, he's good at it, his stuff. His stuff gets to you very quick. Um, and I mean, it's like if you ordered something today, by the end of the week or the beginning of next week, you should have it. Uh, the quickest, the quickest I've ever had something is when I ordered my replay basketball. I think it was basketball or baseball. It's where I ordered it one day, and 2 days later I got it, and I had to look and say, where is this from? And it's replay sports is the replay sports stuff is in Pennsylvania, and I thought to myself, well, duh, no wonder why it only took 2 days to get there. It's because it's in Pennsylvania, and where it's going to is in Kentucky. It's not being shipped to California or something like that, where it would take two. You order it on Monday, and you have to wait till Friday or next Monday to get it. So, but that's the quickest I've ever gotten stuff is like 2 days, and Glory Days boxing stuff is usually that way too, where I could order it today, and like within 3 days, I get their stuff. 2 or 3 days, usually three, but two is the best I've ever gotten from any sports sim place. Um, and you all take care. Have a good night. I'm talked too long.